All right, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the August MHN monthly webinar. Our topic today is utilizing monthly tip sheets to promote PEI. Now we know that we're probably going to have some more folks join us throughout the presentation, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We're recording this meeting and we'll be posting the recording to the website, so folks that weren't able to attend or that needed to join late will be able to watch it at their leisure. So thank you for those that have joined us today, and we're going to move through it. So what we're hoping to achieve during our very quick 30 minutes today together is to review the monthly messaging priorities and the resources for August. And that's going to be actually a standing item at every one of our monthly webinars. We're going to have the first, say, 5 to 10 minutes where we talk about what is the messaging that we've developed for this month and what do we want to get out there and how can you guys assist with that? And then specific to this webinar today, we're going to talk about some new communication resources that have been developed to support the PEI. And those are our monthly PEI tip sheets, of which we will have one for each of the education bundles that we've created, which align with that monthly messaging that we've been talking about. And then finally, we're going to give you guys an opportunity to get into some breakout rooms and talk about how you might utilize this new resource, so specifically those PEI tip sheets. And then we're going to ask you to actually report back to the group and see if there's any information that your peers can leverage and use in their own organizations. All right, so with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to my colleague, Katie, to give an overview of the monthly messaging.
All righty, well, thanks again for joining us. As Kim said, you're kind of getting an entree into how we're going to structure our 30 minutes with you every month. As those of you who join us so regularly, and we're so grateful for that, you know that we've been really working on this community education bundle series, which are community education topics that you as our membership told us are most important for families and providers to have educational materials readily available on. And so every month we're going to be launching a new community education topic. All of these, when they are published, are available on our website. The first today for August is breastfeeding. And so we had the honor of getting together with several subject matter experts in San Bernardino County. They told us what the 3 most important things are to know about breastfeeding. And then we created this whole bundle of resources for both providers and families to utilize moving forward. The reason breastfeeding is the topic for August is because it's National Breastfeeding Awareness Month. And as Kim alluded to, we have this new really exciting resource to help us promote not only our community education goals, but also to promote PEI along the way. And so as we try to uphold that position of elevating issues of equity, we thought we could partner with PEI on these monthly topics and promote equity, like an equity focus on each of these community education topics, which led us to this development of the PEI tip sheet and subsequent social media posts that, again, are available for download. And we'll get into that in a little bit. So it's very timely that we're hosting this webinar today because we are coming up on Black Breastfeeding Awareness Week next week. So we're hoping that by the end of today, you'll have the resources you need to be able to download, share, and continue to support not only our community education strategies, but the PEI as well. Okay, so quick review, and again, you're going to get this about every month during our webinar series, is what's included in the bundle. So the bundles, again, are intended for providers who may not have expertise or who may in the particular topic to move forward and have a series of educational materials that are aligned with what subject matter experts want you to know about that topic, and have a series of curriculum, resources, and social media posts readily available to present and talk about with consumers. So included in that is a PowerPoint presentation, presenter's agenda, fact sheet, which can be downloaded, shared on social media or your website. It's even a printable document in which you can be sharing just the 3 most important facts about breastfeeding that those subject matter experts identified. And so that's one of the more broad used resources in these bundles. You also have a presentation flyer should you want to host a presentation with families about this topic. And then what I think is most cool about this whole bundle, with the exception of the PEI tip sheet now, are those 3 3-minute videos. So they go through what are the 3 most important points about the particular topic. There's a next video about what facilitators and providers need to be aware of when talking with families about the particular topic. And then there's a consumer success story. So those are really great videos, again, all available on our website. All right, so beyond the materials that we created, we also did a bunch of research. So we made those resources available on our website on these pages as well. And then we also developed social media collateral for you to download, co-brand, and share as a resource for your organization that helps us align and really saturate this information across the county. So that was the overview. We're going to show you where those materials live and will continue to live for each topic. But let's get to the real point of today, which are these tip sheets. So Kim's going to show you a little bit later about where to access this tip sheet and what the purpose is. But again, this PEI tip sheet is to elevate and really distinct from the whole bundle package of educational materials around breastfeeding, the most salient points around equity and breastfeeding. In the tip sheet, we'll also have some resources that, again, continue to promote the work that PEI and their programs are doing. And one thing that I will note is we developed these tip sheets in conjunction with PEI staff, and we'll continue to do so on a regular basis. So we're not developing these resources in a vacuum. We're doing it in partnership to continue to further our support for the PEI and all the great work they do. In addition to this tip sheet, we wanted to have a series of supporting social media collateral. Again, all of these materials are available for download and co-branding, so you and your organization can own these materials with us. So one final thing before I hand it off to Ms. Kim to give you really the tutorial of where these live and how to use them. This is the calendar of events in which you will see the community education focus for every month of the year. Our intention is that these align with a national month awareness communication tactic. Some don't, so we just plugged and played topics that you told us are important for families and providers to have wherever there wasn't an alignment with a national awareness month. So again, every month you're going to have probably a more succinct version of that description of just reminding you what our focus is and where you can find those resources to help us get the messaging out to families. All right, Ms. Kim, I'm going to hand it off to you for the tutorial.
Thanks, Katie. And I realized that I was so excited to get going on this topic that I don't think I introduced myself. So I'm glad that you said my name repeatedly. Hi, everyone. I know I've met with many of you before, but I'm Kim Hopkinson. So thank you for your patience as I did not introduce myself at the beginning of the meeting. I will say too, if any folks on the call would like to introduce themselves in the chat, please feel free to do so. It's great for other folks to see who you are and what organizations you represent. So please feel free to do that. And now we're going to jump into what we're calling our tutorial. And today we're going to focus on the PEI tip sheets. Again, this is a new resource that has just been developed. It was posted to the website for the very first time this morning. So this is new. You probably have not seen it before. So what are these? As Katie described, we've got educational bundles around 12 different topics which are meant to be used in a particular month. Now, you can use those materials anytime you want. There's no restrictions on that. But whenever possible, like she said, we've aligned it with an awareness month to help with some synergy around that. As we are developing these educational bundles, and they won't all be ready at the same time, but as they are posted on the website, one of the elements of of each of the bundles will be a PEI tip sheet. And those have been developed to provide cultural context for the monthly messaging, specifically cultural context around that messaging and Black or African American families. It also includes a description of PEI programs that may be of interest to the Black and African American community in San Bernardino County. Now, those programs may or may not align with the topic area for the month. So for example, when we look at the breastfeeding tip sheet, you'll see in the middle, there's a bunch of announcements of upcoming events that may be relevant to Black and African American families or providers that serve those populations. And those events are not specifically related to breastfeeding. We just want you guys to know everything that's going on in the community. And then finally, to circle back to the topic at hand, we provide suggestions for using targeted social media content. So working with folks in the community, we've developed social media posts that, again, elevate those issues of equity around the monthly topic for use on social media. And we're going to actually look at some of those today, so you'll get a sense of what we're talking about. So the question of now is probably, well, how do I get it? How do I access this very cool tip sheet? And so we're actually going to walk through this together. And so Katie is going to transition to the website. So hopefully at this point, everyone is seeing the website. You are welcome to follow along live if you'd like to. You don't have to, but I'll just preface this by saying in a couple minutes, we're going to ask you to download this sheet on your own and to have it available before you go into your breakout rooms. So I would just say you may want to follow along and download it now to save yourself that time. So if you're on our general website right here, what you'll do is you'll navigate over to events and resources. You'll hover over that and you'll see the provider resources sub-tab. When you click on it, you'll get brought to this page. And this page has so much good stuff on it. And I hope that this is not the first time you're seeing it. I would encourage you to go back and review this at your leisure. But specifically where we want you to look right now is the accordion table for the community ed bundles. And you can see there that there is the breastfeeding topic. When you click on that, you'll be given the opportunity to access the bundle. So again, this is the breastfeeding bundle, the whole bundle of which the PEI tip sheet is just one element. You'll scroll through, there's all those presentations, fact sheets, videos that Katie was describing above. We're not really going to pause on those because today we're focused on the PEI tip sheets. And you're going to look for the section of the website, in this case, called Black and African American Breastfeeding. You can see here there's a little blurb that describes why these resources have been created and what the purpose of them is. And what you can do is you can see that lovely download button that allows you to download the tip sheet. And if you were to download that, you would see this. And if we can go back briefly to the website, if you were to scroll down just a little bit more, you would see those great social media posts that you can also download. So you download those and you're able to use them on any of your social media. And I will say that this is my favorite part, this social media part, because it has such the opportunity to reach such a broad audience. So I'd really encourage everyone to download and utilize those. So now, Katie, we can go back to the tip sheet. And we'll kind of walk through this briefly. Again, you can see that this is the tip sheet specifically for raising or elevating issues of equity around the topic for the month, which is breastfeeding. At the top, we've got some information that can provide some cultural context to breastfeeding. In this case, a statistic about what increased breastfeeding could do in terms of improving outcomes within the Black and African American community. We also have here some more information providing some history of breastfeeding and how often Black women were utilized as wet nurses, often not through their own choice in history. And I think that's really important context for folks to understand when they're talking about breastfeeding with Black and African American women. Then we get into the announcement section, which, as we talked about, is not specific to breastfeeding. This is just general work that's going on in the county, events and activities that may be relevant to Black or African American families or service providers of Black and African American families. So really that means it's relevant to everybody because, right, all service providers in San Bernardino County are likely serving Black and African American families. And then finally, we talk a little bit more about that PEI messaging, specifically the social media posts that are available for you guys to utilize. So that is the tip sheet. We ran you through it. And now what we're going to do is ask you guys to download it and walk through it together. So we're going to pause here. I don't think it will take you very long to download it. Many of you may have already done so. So if you need any help at this point, feel free to note in the chat or raise your hand, and Katie or I can connect with you to help you find that resource again. But when you've downloaded it, we'd love if you could give us a thumbs up. You can either do that on your screen, or you can do it using the emoji reactions that are available. I'll go ahead and demonstrate like that. I'll do it here as well. Great. I'm seeing some folks indicating that they've downloaded that. And I would encourage you to grab that whenever you can, as quickly as you can, because you are about to be placed in a breakout room where you'll need to utilize that document with your partner. And I'm looking, we actually have an even number of folks, Katie. So when we go to breakouts, we'll do 2 people in each breakout. So let's just give it maybe 30 more seconds. If anybody's having trouble accessing that document, please let us know. And while we're waiting for folks to continue to download that, why don't we go to the next slide and just give people an idea of what's going on. So again, we're going to put you in a breakout room. You're going to be in the breakout room for about 5 minutes. While you're in there with one other individual, we're going to ask you to talk through a couple questions. So we'd love you guys to talk about what elements of the tip sheet you think is the most helpful, particularly for your organization or the work you do. You can also think about how your organization can use these tip sheets and supporting social media posts. And then we'd love if you can think of anything that the MHN can do to support your use of these tip sheets, like if there's any ways we could tweak them or distribute them that would be helpful to you, we'd love that feedback. So you'll talk through those 3 questions, and then you're going to come back and we're going to ask you to share. Depending on the timing, we'll probably have you put your notes in the chat so we can capture it. And so let me pause there. Does anyone have any questions or concerns before we move into our breakouts? Okay, Katie, I think it's on you. Let's move people over.
All righty, just click the button to join your room and we'll pull you back here in a few minutes. Have fun. Welcome back.
All right, we've got a couple folks coming back. I think we can go ahead and close the breakouts and bring folks back. And we'll just give it about 10 seconds for everyone to come back. It usually takes a few moments for people to get back with us. I hope that was useful and that you guys had the documents. And you know what? If what you talked about wasn't those specific questions, that's okay. We know that, one of the real benefits of the MHN is the ability for folks to get together and talk and connect. And so we hope that that was a good use of your time as you were able to do that. So it looks like we've still got a few folks in room 2, Katie, and I'm wondering if we can bring them back.
I am limited by Zoom's timer, so we have 20 seconds. Perhaps if someone had something really exciting they want to share, we can start that process, and I'm sure they're just having a great conversation as well, or they would have pressed return to room.
Exactly. So they'll be back in 1 second. It looks like they're coming back right now, which is great. And as they're coming back, we do want to acknowledge a couple things. The first is that a couple of you guys let us know that there's a typo or 2 in that tip sheet. So that's great. It looks like we didn't spell out an entire organization's name, and there may be a typo around another organization's name. So we're going to go ahead and edit those and get those re-uploaded to the website today. If you guys ever see anything like that, please feel free to reach out to us. There will be no offense. We want it to be everything to be as accurate as possible. So we really appreciate that feedback. And then the other thing is, as you're coming back, we'd love if you could share in the chat kind of what did you guys talk about? Specifically, we really want to understand, are these helpful resources to you? We are not service providers in the county, and neither Katie or I are the audience of interest for these materials. Now, we have worked with PEI to develop these materials, but the broader range of feedback we're able to get is just going to improve these products over time. So we would love for you guys to share any of your thoughts. And if you'd prefer to unmute yourself and share verbally, we've got maybe 2 minutes that we could do some verbal chatting. And if not, if you could put comments in the chat, that would be very appreciated. So is there anyone who wants to chime in? I see people typing, so I can see people looking down at their screen and like typing. So, but if anyone would prefer to unmute, please feel free.
Hey, this is Senya. I don't want to type, so I will go ahead and just talk. So basically, in our group, we talked about how we liked the resource and how we would even like it better if maybe it was like a poster that you could put somewhere with a QR code. So then that way, they can go ahead and just take a picture or, go up to it with like the camera and have that resource with them. So then in the future, let's say they want to share that with somebody else, then they can just, send the link to them or just share it that way, So that's kind of how we were going about it. We liked it. We think it's helpful. It's very short, sweet, to the point. But maybe that's one other thing that can be added to it.
That's a great idea. Thank you. That's definitely something we can look into. Like we've said, we're going to create 12 of these. So any areas of improvement we're at the beginning end are appreciated.
So this is Sharice Davis Nelson. I just have a quick comment about, I understand how they're going to be rolled out kind of sequentially, and dating for that purpose is helpful, but I almost felt like it's going to be limited beyond like the month of August, and it's still really helpful information by putting so many dates on it. Just something to take into consideration.
That's a good point that maybe we don't. I think we put the date on to help align it with the month, but since it says breastfeeding right at the top, I think you're right. There may be an opportunity to not have the month on there, because we don't have the month on the other materials associated with breastfeeding, because the intent is that you could use those at any time. So that's fantastic feedback. All right.
This is Jasmine from the Black Infant Health Program. And I thought it was a really great document. I agree with the date information, specifically like the provider events and activities. It might be better if it linked to another, like if it linked to the website, which had those dates. Because I'm looking at this document and I feel like it's something I can use during presentations to hand out. So adding the QR link, like Zinnia said, would be great. But also in case I'm doing a presentation after September where it has those like overdue conversations, I don't want them to feel like this document is, old or no longer applicable. So I would agree with removing some of the dates.
I love that. And it actually aligns with something we've thought about, which is moving the announcement section to the bottom of the page. And if we did that, it would make it really easy to create two versions, one of which just didn't have the bottom. Right. So the one that has the announcements, because you're right, it will be outdated by the end of September. And then there's a version that doesn't have the dates at all or any of the announcements at that point. So I think we can play around with that.
Yeah, I have a follow-up, Jasmine, just from your perspective too. Like, Kim, I love your idea of the two versions, one that's the month one and one that's a more timeless version.
Lindsay,
perhaps that
plugs work over there?
So sorry, Lindsay, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Someone else was speaking to me.
Oh, that's okay. Well, it's okay because Lindsay and Jasmine, you're my ladies for this, in which I think perhaps we can transition that section to be information about programs. So we have a area on the MHN website which demonstrates all PEI programs. Maybe that's an area that makes it a more timeless document as well. So I'm certain we will be reaching out to you for your feedback again.
Well, great. Thank you all so much. If you guys have anything else to share, please go ahead and put it in the chat. We want to be respectful of your time. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up.
Sorry, can I add one more thing?
Oh, sure.
It was challenging for me to actually find it. Would it be possible to have just a link on like the front page about like the most current tip sheet or something, just so that people don't have to click quite as many places to find it?
Yeah, let us explore that. That's good. So making sure it's a little easier to find. We get that the website is very dense, and so it can be hard to navigate through everything. So that's super good feedback. Thank you for that.
And even if you have somewhere where it's easier to find just tip sheets, right? So like, I don't know, it just seemed like there was one too many clicks to find it.
That makes sense. And you know, the intent is we just didn't have it live, so we weren't going to promote it, but I believe that all the tip sheets are going to live on the PEI page as well. That will be less clicks, but let us look into how we can make it even easier. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. And you guys will have an opportunity to provide some feedback in a survey that we're going to give to you in just a second. But just to wrap up, Katie, if you want to take over.
Well, it'll probably be a hot potato back to you, Kim. But guys, thank you for joining our first webinar of this fiscal year. I hope you found it valuable. I know we also enjoy on our team here getting to connect with you on a regular basis. Our next monthly webinar is scheduled. It's the same Eventbrite link that Kim just posted in the chat. You'll see all of our monthly webinar dates, but the next one is about our consumer survey. Kim, do you want to give like a 10-second snapshot of what that's going to look like?
So I know that many of you participated in the summit in June, and so you may be thinking, Kim already presented on the consumer survey. Why are we doing a webinar on this? And the full title of the webinar is actually much longer because the purpose of that webinar is to look at how one specific organization is using a subset of the consumer data to help drive decision making. And so we've actually partnered with PEI on this as well. And we are disaggregating some of those key questions by Black and African American respondents to get a better sense of their experience within the maternal health network rather than being, lumped in with the larger group. And so that's what we'll be presenting on in September.
That is so exciting. Thanks, Kim. I hope you all join. If not, they're always recorded and available on our website. So we know it's a lot of clicks. So you may save yourself time by joining us. All right, last thing, we always want to be improving our processes. We want to make this a valuable space for you to join on a regular basis. So please take our evaluation. It is not feedback thrown into the wind. We read them almost immediately and try and improve our processes for future convenings to ensure it aligns with what you need, what you want to see, and any feedback you can help us make this more valuable for you does not go unnoticed. So please take that evaluation. And other than that, we're wrapped up. I know we're 2 minutes over, so we'll try and give you, let you leave, and just am so appreciative of your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.